Yo, what's up guys? So today we're going to be going over edit rules, right? These are things that you guys cannot be overlooking. So if you still, after all the tips that I've given, can't edit fast, there's a reason for that. Alright, there's three main things that I think about and that I had to think about whenever I was developing my editing game. And they're things that I discovered, some of them, other things that are just common knowledge. So I'm going to be talking about the three main things that you need to be thinking when you're editing. And when you're trying to go about improving your editing game. Alright, so let's assume now that your ping is not a problem. Let's go ahead and jump into the fun stuff. So, whenever you're editing, this is what I've learned, right? So, one of the basic editing stuff that you'll see people do is like edit down a ramp and a flat. And basically, the way to do this is to you have to really focus on the beginning and ending edits, right? So, if you just swipe this way and, try to miraculously hit your edit and confirm button at the right time, you're probably going to miss it. And I missed it a bunch until I realized that I needed to focus on grabbing the very beginning edit. And then as soon as I land that ending edit, that's when I hit confirm. Before, I would focus so much on the beginning and I would just kind of swipe this way and I would be confirming whenever I was right here. And that's not going to get me anything. I would be confused as to why I'm not editing through my ramp. I was like, I'm going on this, on this motion, and I'm hitting confirm where I thought I was, which was over here, but really I was back here. So just the big tip is to make sure that you're thinking about your beginning as well as your ending. And honestly, the ending is probably the most important. So just make sure that you're keeping that in mind, and that's how you're going to be able to edit through all that. If I had to put one edit rule above all the others, it would be this one. This is literally the edit rule that basically made me edit fast. Without this, I wouldn't be able to do edits like the tunnel edit and the elevation edit. I wouldn't be able to do any of that if I wasn't thinking about this rule. So this is, I'm telling you right now, this is the most important rule when it comes to your editing. Do not overlook this rule. Also, one thing I forgot to mention about the first edit rule, this just proves my point right here. If you're going for the 3-square edit on a flat, or on a wall, right? You might find yourself in the scenario that you accidentally do a door instead of hitting all three. And that's caused by what I was just discussing in this segment, is that you are not allowing yourself enough time and you're not thinking about the ending edit as much as you really should. So make sure that you're just thinking about that last edit. Now the second most important rule here is to consciously think about how long you're putting your finger on your edit button, or how long, more specifically, how long you are holding the edit button down. So if I go ahead and put a wall out here, right? And I go to edit it, if I'm just spamming my edit button, then I can, pull up the edit menu very, very fast. But if you go here and you accidentally hold it for longer, then it actually takes longer to pull up the edit menu. So if you hold down your edit button longer than you need to, then it's actually going to give you some edit delay. That's what I've discovered in doing this. And that's why you'll sometimes hit an edit and other times you won't. You think you have the exact same timing, and you do in terms of your trigger to edit button, this, switching between the two. But the thing is, you're holding your edit button initially for way too long, and that causes it to delay getting out, which then means you basically hit your trigger too early, and your whole timing is just all thrown out. So the main way to practice getting the edit out fast is to take your finger off of your edit button whenever you press it and whenever you confirm it. Obviously, make sure your edit button is the same as your confirm button. I'll show you guys how to do that at the end of this video in the next tip, but make sure that that is a thing, and just make sure that you are taking your finger off of the edit button in order to learn how to not press it for as long. Ideally, obviously, you're not going to be taking your finger off it in the long run, but you are going to want to do that at the beginning just to learn how to not press it for as long. Last edit rule that's causing you to hinder your ability to edit at peak performance is you do not have full mobility whenever you edit. This is mainly caused by poor controller binds, and so obviously you want to have the ideal binds or the ideal grip on your remote. So an easy way to fix this is to play claw. Obviously I actually don't play claw, if you were wondering, but I do use a elite controller that has paddles. So another way to fix it is to have paddles, and this allows me to be able to jump, edit, all simultaneously, which so I don't have any hindrance in my editing game at all. If you're on normal Builder Pro, then you're having to like not if you go for B to edit or any button, any A, X, Y, B on an Xbox One remote, if you go for those buttons, then you now can't actually look around at the same time, so you have to hit X, right? So I'm going to use X instead of my paddle. I would have to, like, whenever I'm with my paddle, right, I can look around, I can jump, I can do everything you know, that I need to. But if I go to do X, then I have to, like, not move my reticle at all, because I have to take my right thumb off of my thumbstick, go hit the X button, and now I can look around, right? So there's just a little hindrance there. Now if I play claw, then I could hit the X button at the same time. Obviously I don't play claw, so I'm not about to try to demonstrate that for you guys. But yeah, so it's just something to keep in mind, is to make sure that your binds are like not hindering your ability to jump at the same time that you edit. So you could do this by mapping edit to the left thumbstick and turning auto sprint on. That's one way to do it, because then you can look around, you can walk around, you can do everything, and you can still edit at full mobility. That's the way that I would do it on a normal remote. Also, I would probably map my A or my jump to the right thumbstick, and you know, try to mess around with that. Me personally, I didn't like the way that felt, and so I went out and bought an Elite controller. And my game improved a bunch. So if you do have the financial ability to do so, I do recommend getting one, because it does help your game a lot. So real quick here, let's go ahead and take a look at my settings right now. I'm rocking 0.9 and 0.7 for my X and Y, then 0.3, 0.3, then 1.15 building. So I'm basically on 10.8 for my building, if you're wondering. So there is that, and I also have sprint by default on, wherever that is, there it is, I have that on. I have instant builds on. But one thing to note is that your editing is tied to your combat sensitivity. So that would be this sensitivity, right? So if you're playing on like 5.5 or something slow, then your editing is likely going to suffer. But really, you don't need anything more than 7. Personally, I thought it was too slow for me, but there's plenty of good players that edit on 7.7, and they do it just fine. And I'm sure that you can do it on lower sensitivities, but me personally, I'd like to higher sense. So just keep that in mind. Now if we go to my binds, this is where I have my edit controls mapped to where my edit is its own button. So I have instant edit. That would be X, which I use a paddle for. And then because of that, I also have confirm on X. So I also confirm with the paddle. And so that's the way you do that, right? I don't know why a lot of people are asking. This is really not a complicated thing. But you go here, you make one button edit, and then you go to your edit controls and you make that confirm. That's pretty much the way to make your confirm button the same as your edit button. So not a hard thing to do. Make sure you do that. Alright, and lastly, let's go and talk about ping. You can see at the top left of my screen, I have ping of roughly anywhere from 25 to around 45. This is an ideal range, and a realistic range. Obviously, 0 to like 15 would be like the preferred. You just have amazing ping. But most people, I sent out a poll, and most people have the like 25 to 45 range, or 15 to 45 range, whatever I labeled it. And that's actually surprising to me, but that is the fact. It's about 50% of the people that voted said that they were in that range. And this is a good thing, because this is a really good range to be in. You don't really need anything better. You don't necessarily need it, and you certainly don't want anything worse. So anything above like 45 is when your editing is going to start suffering. You can still perform really well in the 45 to like 75 range. So if you're in that range, don't think I'm saying that you obviously can't play good. You can still play really good, but you will have a slight edit delay compared to someone that's a little bit lower. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, if you're anywhere above like 75, your editing will be tremendously suffering, and it's really unfortunate. So the only ways to go about fixing your ping is to get better internet or move closer to where servers are located, the Epic Games servers. So if you live, you know, in this place where there's no servers, then your ping is likely around 170, and you're just kind of stuck in that range. It's really unfortunate, but the only way to fix that is to move closer to the servers. Now if you live closer to the servers and you get better internet, then you can still lower your ping slightly that way. So for instance, for me, I live moderately close to a server, I think, and I was sitting around 75 ping for the longest time, and it was about 60 to 75. And then I went ahead and upgraded my internet, and so I went down to the 25 to 45 range, and I saw a huge difference in how fast I was able to edit. So just keep that in mind. That's the only two ways to fix your ping. Now with that said, guys, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about editing that after this video, just make sure you leave it down below in the comments. Also, let me know what your average ping is, because I am very curious to know, just to get a better idea of where the community stands as far as that is concerned. And yeah, I also have a Twitter at @triple_YT if you do want to follow me there. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.